Hello, today is Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. My name is Daniel Mullaney, and behind the camera is Caitlin Yates. Today we are here to film a video source inspection for Sitek Process Solutions of a fully refurbished Fluoroware HTC 8020 box washer. This system is designed to wash and dry cassettes, boxes, or any other item that you might need in the wafer fab area. We currently have the system hooked up or configured with two different racks. These are not the customer's racks, but they are just ones that we have in-house using for demo. Our end user is located here in the US, and their PO number is 8056093. Before we get to running the system, I'd like to let you know that in addition to providing refurbishments for box washers, Sitek also refurbishes a variety of other wafer fab equipment. This includes spin rinse dryers, mask cleaners, vapor prime ovens, photoresist pumps, barrel ash and etch tools, full spray solvent tools, and a variety of others. If you're interested in other equipment, please visit our website at www.sitekprocess.com. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and walk through the system. I'm going to show you the quality of work that we have across the entire tool, and then we'll do a demo run. So we can start by coming up here to the head casing. I'm going to go ahead and open it. Normally, actually opening up a head casing would cause an EMO condition, which actually I can show you right now. We'll set it up as such. So with this guy right here, there's a maintenance kind of feature where you can push it in and turn it in order to keep it on. But since we're going to be running the tool fully, I'm going to go ahead and EMO it right there. As you can see inside here, the system has been cleaned up. Looks great. All the wiring has been labeled and tested out. And the Omron PLC as well as the touchscreen HMI interface are all great and working properly, in addition to the temp controllers. Okay, so I'll go ahead and close this off. Okay, so it's actually going to be a little difficult to kind of get the camera over here, so I'll just come over here and let you know what I see on this side. So I'm popping open the power box right here. This is our high voltage power box. This is where we bring the incoming 480 volt to the system. So I'm taking a look in here, and we have a whole variety of different relays and other items that are used for maintaining the power and controlling the heaters, the top control unit. Everything in here looks great. There's also an EMO switch and a power on switch right here, and we have our 480 volt 80 amp item listed up here. Sorry, it sounds like we got a phone going off in the background a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and close this now. Now I should be able to power on the system, as I just did. So the system is now has its EMO interlocks satisfied because I have this door closed. I have this door closed, and now we have our item on. You'll notice that we actually dropped a degree in the set point for the water temperature. That makes sense because the system wasn't actively heating the water when we had that EMO situation there for the past couple minutes. Next, I'm going to go ahead and open the process chamber. So as I mentioned, these racks are not the actual customer's racks, but just some ones that we're using for demo. This customer purchased two systems from us. The other system's already installed, and all the racks are at their site for that tool's processing. So that's just a new rack that we have in-house, and here's a refurbished rack that we have in-house. Both of these are just used for the demonstration. Looking inside of the chamber, everything in here has been cleaned up appropriately as well. I can see that we have several air knives that will actuate. They'll rotate back and forth during the drying step in order to effectively dry the chamber. The air coming out of these air knives is not heated, but the air that's pulled through the entire system is heated. So I'll show you that down below, but these guys blow ambient nitrogen across, and they're gonna really kind of knock the water off of the substrates, while then the hot air that's being pulled through will give the really strong drying effect. We also have these spray arms. So they sit down here. They sit against ball bearings that are Teflon style. So it's not any sealed bearings on these guys. They just sit against Teflon ball bearings and rotate as such like this. Okay. The door seal has been replaced and tested on the system as well. So you can't have any leaks when using a system like this, and we replaced the door seal to ensure that. All right, now coming underneath the system right here, everything here has been rebuilt as well. Here we have the main blower that's going to bring the hot air through the chamber. Here we have the recirculating wash pump that's going to be used during the rinse and wash steps. If you were to pop this open, you'd see a heater on this side. This is a larger Wattlow heater that's going to heat up a high volume of air that's being forced through the chamber from the blower. Then you're going to have a pre-filter on this side and then a subsequent HEPA filter. That's going to ensure that the air that's blowing through and onto your cassettes is particle-free to a HEPA filtration level, which is important for maintaining a clean cassette when it's finalized. Here we have some other sensors. These guys are going to be looking for exhaust or leaks. We have Magna Helix that show the rate of pull from the exhaust ducting in the back. For a system like this, you want to have about 440 SCFM of total pull in order to have the system working properly. Next to it, we have a whole bank of valves that are used for the air knife flow. So all of those have been inspected, tested, and rebuilt as necessary as well. And then we have some various tubing underneath here that's used for the system controls. Okay. Then again, you can't quite come back here with the camera. It's a little tight in space, but I'm taking a look back here for us. I see several Bimba cylinders that are used for the air knife actuation. Those are controlled by the solenoid bank that's on the top. We have an internal DI water heater it's heating the DI water. I'm just tapping my hand on the side of the surface of it, and it is quite warm. So that means that, you know, it's what we expect with a 65 degrees C set point of the water. We have an incoming DI water filter. We have a surfactant pump. We have a surfactant reservoir. We have the large cabling for the power box back here that's running through here. We have chains that work with the Bimba cylinder to rotate the spray arms back and forth. And yeah, that really covers the majority of the main components. Again, everything that I see here has either been rebuilt, cleaned, or replaced in order to meet our refurbishment specifications, which is critical for us because we have a 6-month warranty on these systems, and the only way we can cover those tools is if we rebuild them the right way. So now we're going to get up to the control system, but first what I'm going to show you is down here we have a key. This key is used to switch between a maintenance mode and a manual mode on this system. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to maintenance mode so I can just show you how that works. I switch that over. Now coming to the screen. Sometimes it can be hard to see from the camera, but I hope you can see it all right. We're now in manual operation, and there's 2 screens. The first screen shows fill, drain, spray, surfactant, door lock, air heater, and blower damper. Screen 2 is going to show the zones for the air knives. So since you can't run that with the door open, we'd have to jump her out the door in order to run them with the door open. I'm just going to show you a couple with the door closed. For example, I can lock the door. You just heard it lock, and then I'll turn on the blower damper. So now I just heard the damper go, and then the blower. So now it's essentially using the forced air feature on the system. Okay, so I just went ahead and finished that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to now the main screen. So I just turned the key, and now we're back to standard operation with the system. Going to go ahead and enter. And from here you can run a normal cycle, a dry cycle, a custom cycle, and then you have your timer settings. So if you wanted to check your timer settings in here, let's say come to the timer, we can change the DI heater idle time, the surfactant dispense time, a wash time, rinse time, dry time. And in our case, I'm going to take a look at all the timers. We have 4 hours, 3 seconds, 60 seconds. So kind of a variety of standard times right here for the system. So I'm going to go ahead and now exit this. And the next thing that we're going to do is, so we're going to run the tool, and the dry time is 30 minutes long. So what we're going to do is we're going to run it. We're going to demonstrate the rinse cycles. You're going to see it wash. And then when we get into dry, we're going to go ahead and cut the camera, and then we'll start it back up when we get to the end of the dry cycle so you can see the final finish and pull out the cassettes and inspect them. So we're okay to start a normal cycle here. In a minute as well, I'm going to turn on these blowers that I have hooked up to the system. Basically, in the fab, you'll have full exhaust hooked up all the time. But here in our manufacturing facility, we don't have that kind of infrastructure set up for a heavy exhaust pull. So what we do is we use blowers to emulate that exhaust. And when we get past the wash cycles, I'm going to turn those on so we don't have any interlocks fail on us. Okay, so right now we have our DI fill going. We have a safety fill timer right here that lets you know how long before the system will sort of interlock out. But basically, it's filling. There you go. It hit its set point with there's a sensor in the back of the chamber that lets you know when the reservoir is filled, which it just did. And now we're running the wash cycle. So really what we're going to do is we're going to do this exact process about 3 or 4 times. I can't remember exactly if it's 3 or 4, but it's going to basically cycle that over and over again, and then it will go into the dry step. Okay, everything's looking good with the system. No leaks. Coming around to the back of the tool to inspect back here as well. Everything looks good, normal. Again, no leaks, and the system is operating as normal at this time. Okay, so now we're opening up the drain valve. So now we're draining out the water that just went through. This first step is what we consider a wash step. We don't have surfactant installed here, but we fill up that reservoir with water just to confirm the function of the pump. But what that would do in the fab, and if you're using surfactant, is it would dispense a small amount into the reservoir, it would mix, and then it would create our actual washing here. Now we're going to go into rinse. So after you do that wash step with surfactant, we're going to repeat that process, but we're no longer going to spike the reservoir in the back with that surfactant. Now we're just going to fill up with DI water alone. We're going to wash it through, and we're going to make sure that we rinse off any surfactant that would be remaining in the chamber. As you can imagine, there will be some residual on the first or second run because that was what was left in the water that's still in the chamber. Okay, so now we're doing what we call those rinse steps, as I mentioned. We're on rinse cycle 1. We should have a total of 3 rinse cycles. And then what I'll do is the blowers are a little loud, but I'm going to turn them on during rinse cycle 2 because the only thing we can't have happen is have the exhaust not working properly, and then we have an interlock failure, and then we kind of didn't really have a successful video. So I'm going to get that exhaust turned on here pretty soon to ensure that it goes smoothly. Okay, so that's the drain step that's going on right now. When I come back to the tool, I can see a little bit of water coming out still. It was heavy at the beginning when it was draining the majority of the water out of the chamber. But again, no leaks, and everything looks good over here too. Okay, so now we're going into rinse cycle 2. This will be another 30-second rinse. There should be a 3rd rinse cycle as well now that I'm talking through this, and again, I'm going to make sure that the exhaust is on before that process starts. Okay. Now I'm coming over to turn on the exhaust. Yep, everything looks normal and appropriate inside the chamber. right, so now we're going into that third rinse cycle, as I mentioned. And then that should be the last one before we're gonna cut the camera and let this system dry. We are now finishing up our last rinse cycle, and we should be moving into the dry now. Okay, so we are now on to the dry cycle. We've got the blower motor on, we've got the air heater on, and we can see we have a 30-minute cycle with air knives that are gonna take turns actuating as we go. So we just went from air knife zone 1 to air knife zone 2. If I were to look in the chamber, you would see one at a time those air knives rotating back and forth so they can sweep pressurized nitrogen across the cassettes and boxes and kind of sweep that water off while the evaporating happens from the hot air. Okay, so you also notice here that the drying temp is raising. That's good as well. That's required in order for the drying, and it'll continue to do so until it hits its set point. All right, so at this moment, we're gonna go ahead and cut the camera, and we'll see you back in your time. It'll be about 1 second. We're back. So we now have 31 seconds left of remaining dry time. This entire time, the chamber's been drying out. By looking inside, the chamber is dry from visual look from here, but we'll inspect that when we get open. There'll probably be some water left over on the base of the system. That's expected because the objective is to blow all water off of the cassettes and then evacuate from the chamber, but small little pools will be residual at the bottom, which is normal. Yep, everything looking good over here still too. So once this is done, we have a cool down timer. All right, so it looks like we're already into that. This is a 2-minute cool down timer to essentially make sure that you don't open the chamber when it's extremely hot right after a run. You want to be safe for the user, and so we have a 2-minute cool down. Okay, so in addition to doing refurbishments for these tools, Sitek also offers all the spare parts and services that you need for the tool. So we have replacement windows, door seals, solenoids, replacement racks, rack re-welding services. We can actually recoat your chamber if you have blue armor coated chamber. We provide spare parts for all the items down here, such as the air blower, the wash pump, HEPA filter, everything like that. So if you have a system in stock and you need any kind of spare parts for it, please let us know, because even the parts that may be custom to the system, we've reverse engineered on our end and created our own Sitek replacement, so that way you can keep your box washers up and running correctly. Okay. So we've got 30 more seconds here until we're done. You can see the water temp is up by 65 degrees now. That makes sense. It's been sitting idle for a while. And you can see the drying temp is now cooling down from its 65 degree set point. That's because it's in our cool down phase and we want to turn the heat off. But the water temp is going to hold at its set point for up to 4 hours. So that's important because that means that in between your process runs, you'll maintain the DI set point. So when you press start, you're using hot DI water mixed with the surfactant for the first process run. Okay, so the process cycle is complete. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to get these blowers turned off. It'll be a lot easier to hear for us when I do that. Okay, so there we go, got that turned off. Now I'm going to go ahead and open the process door. All right, there we go. could feel the warmth coming right out of it when I do that. So as I mentioned, I can see a little bit of residual water sitting on the base of the chamber, and that is expected. What we really are curious about are the cassettes and the rack. So I open up, the cassettes are quite warm, but you can handle them, and they are dry. There's no residual water sitting on the rack, there's nothing sitting on the cassette, so this was a successful process run here. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and take a look at the other side as well. As you can see, this is kind of a different style rack. This one's coated and it has the cassette sitting like this versus being held on by the side piece, but both are appropriate for proper function, and everything looks good on this side as well. So we had a successful process run of the box washer here. So I mentioned before, but if you'd like to learn more about our products and services, you can please visit our website at www.sitekprocess.com, or you can give us a call at 916-797-9000, and to reach me directly, dial extension 2201. Thank you so much for viewing, and I hope you have a great day.